Hey everybody! So I'm back for a review of Love After Lockup. Before I forget, if you're watching this, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you to all of you who have. I really appreciate it. So first thing, I kind of gonna work something out because Love After Lockup, Life After Lockup. This has been my show for years. Okay, and I think honestly, when I stopped reviewing it for that part, or for a season or whatever, it really had more to do with the fact that staying up on Friday nights is a lot for me, and then trying to get this done. So maybe I'll just start doing it on Saturday morning, because I'm just so tired on Fridays. I'm just so tired on Fridays. But I missed it. Okay, so here's a review of Love After Lockup, Life After Lockup, Season 5, Episode 19. You know they don't ever have these numbers right. Mom's behaving badly. Now, why did I take a break and I feel like all these people are basically in the same space they were before? Anyway, Brittany and Kira, I am convinced that WeTV knows that this has to have been one of the best editions I've seen of a reality TV show in a very, very long time. And I think WeTV knows that, so they're always breadcrumbing us with Brittany and Kira because they know we want to know what's going to happen. So anyway, they're going to New York to meet her abuela, her grandmother. But they get into it, Kira and Brittany. Brittany was like, don't be nervous. She was like, my abuela, she loves you, this, that, and the other. Like, she talks to you over the phone. She seems fine. And then she says something to the effect that, well, my abuela talks to my mom a lot. And Keurig points out, your mom doesn't like me. She doesn't like the fact that I'm from the hood. I said, now granted, we are only seeing where Keurig's mom has, obviously been able to work herself to today and separate from her father, so on and so forth. And Brittany was like, no. Not because I was thinking to myself, you from the hood? Just because you get in trouble don't mean you're from the hood. But anyway, so Brittany was like, no, she never said that. And she was clear. She was like, the only reason why she doesn't like you is because you were not born a male at birth. That's why she doesn't like you. It's not because you're from the hood. It's not because you're from all this other stuff. Now, Brittany, that in and of itself is enough for him to feel away. Okay? Somebody not liking the way somebody's sexuality goes one way or another and what they are choosing to do to transition to whatever makes them feel happy, so on and so forth. That is enough, okay, for them to dislike, not, want to fuck with your mother, whatever. But honestly, I didn't feel like that was Brittany's issue, him having a problem with that. But the fact that he was bringing in all this other stuff, and something about that said to me, the way Keurig kind of backed off when she was like, I'm not doing this, I feel like does say to me that Keurig was not as invested in this narrative as production was. Like, production kind of put this bug in his ear to keep bringing that up, to bring up something else. Something that honestly is familiar to white people's perceptions of people, and we know, or I know as a black person, how Latinos can act toward black people. And it is not in a loving way. They don't identify with us. They don't ally themselves with us. They make a constant effort to treat black people like they're less than. Even from the man who cleans the floor at my school, okay? Who will take packages, bring packages in the office, and if I'm the only one in there, will not leave them with me, makes an effort to put them on somebody else's desk, and then I'll say, you can just put it here. I mean, for years I said that, and he still does. Now I just ignore him. The racist act of she must be stealing something. Not she's the black woman in the office who's been teaching here for years with a PhD. Like, none of that. And it doesn't matter. Because we all know when it comes to racism, it doesn't matter. So I can totally understand the hesitancy. Nevertheless, I do think production also is aware of these kind of stereotypes and is willing to try to spin some other narrative. And she's not willing to go for that. And I get it. So, like I said, your mama not liking him because he was not born male is a big enough deal. Okay? Nevertheless, even though her mother doesn't really talk to her, her family has basically disowned her. And I know some people probably look at this like, why is she getting so defensive? Why is she getting so defensive? The bottom line is, even if your family treats you like that, nobody wants to be or feel disowned by their family. I don't care what anybody tells you. That nobody wants to feel that. And Brittany just can't let protecting her mom go, because at the end of the day, if you don't have family and your family still exists, but you've been kind of pushed out of that unit, what do you have? At least that's how you feel. And we can say, oh, she has Kirok's family. But at the end of the day, that's going to always be Kirok's family. If they break up, that won't be her family. You see what I mean? And we can say those things. We can hope for the best. But, I mean, just put yourself in her shoes for a second, right? So she's screaming at Kirok and production. She is angry. You could tell. I know that there are people that think that if her mom and her family rejected her for being part of the LGBTQ plus community, they're wondering why she defends her. And when she's in the bathroom talking to him, she was like, my mom doesn't even like me. You know how hurtful that is for somebody to have to admit that out loud? Of course she's angry. She's really angry because she's hurt. That's why. And that kind of anger and rage, I could tell. It was not fake. It was not for TV. It's because she is hurt, and talking about her family in any way reminds her of that rejection. And maybe, just maybe, as she's on this show, she's hoping that her parents will see this and not find another reason to reject her and isolate her. Kirok did not have to keep on pushing that. We've established that. I'm not saying that he doesn't have the right to feel that way. I'm just saying in that moment, I think the whole creating something else wasn't worth it. Okay, because I can rock with you not fucking with your mother because fucking with the mother because she don't like the fact that you weren't born male at birth, because that's definitely something you could help. Anyway, so she said her family wasn't perfect. She was like, but they took care of me when I was in jail. They put money on my books every week to make sure I was cared for and safe. And I was thinking to myself, yeah, that is something impressive, because everybody's family doesn't do that. Everybody's family can't do that. But if they were really concerned about her being safe, they wouldn't have put her in that position so early in her life where she felt like she didn't have a place to go and then got caught up in trouble that landed her in jail. But nevertheless, family relationships and dynamics are complicated. And honestly, I have compassion for that situation. I really do. All right, so we get Sean and Sarah. Now, this is, I don't even understand why they're still casted. I really don't. Okay, honestly, watching Brittany and Marcelino 15 seasons in is more entertaining than Sean and Sarah. Okay, I thought we were done with them. I didn't know what else they could pull out of them. Like the lemon is out of juice. Anyway, so she's complaining about him maxing out all their credit cards or whatever. She's also working for him as a tow truck driver, sending him, here or there, which I honestly don't think is a bad way for her to get work experience, and them work together on a business or whatever. And I can tell, every time we've seen Sean, he has a job working for something dealing with cars, automotive stuff, whatever. Now, I'm still, and this is just me personally, because I know other people are not going to care, but oh well. I'm still not over the way he married this chick. Sean married Sarah from jail, was giving her a bunch of money, and then left his main woman. I don't care if they weren't married. Okay, they might as well have been. She gave him 6 kids. They were raising them in the same house. They had a family together. And then you go and provide all of this stuff for this woman instead of dispersing it amongst your 6 children. I wouldn't trust any man, Sarah, that had done that before. But I don't know if she trusts him or she just sees him as a meal ticket, honestly, because that's the way he presented himself. Anyway, he's now admitted that he doesn't have a backup plan if this tow truck thing falls through. Did we expect anything more? Okay, really. So Abby, Sarah's oldest daughter, had started to develop a relationship with her father. Both him and Sarah were on drugs at one point, whatever. But he seems to be getting high and probably back on something. And I really hate that for that little girl in particular, because I think there is nothing worse than a kid being disappointed and heartbroken because they feel neglected and unwanted by their parent or parents. Because that kid has to even feel a way about the fact that Sarah did what she did and was away. Yes, she's young, but I can tell you right now, it's just like what Oscar Wilde once wrote. Your parent, as children, you love your parents. As you get older, you judge them. And all of that stuff people will have to deal with. And I feel like it's sad. It's sad. And I get Sarah still wanting him to be in her life. And I think that was important. I actually think she did do the right thing. Sarah is meeting, we get her trying to meet up with her baby daddy to give him a drug test without his knowledge. Girl, I can tell you right now, handing that to a drug addict was not going to go well anyway. But this whole missing calls, not showing up to events, it's stuff people will do whether they're on drugs or not. But I think she knows his habits anyway. So he stands her up at the restaurant. She's crying and saying she's devastated for her daughter. I honestly don't think she was wrong, despite her mama yapping off at the mouth. I don't think she was wrong by letting him back in her life, because she was trying to make sure that her daughter knew her father and didn't have the same kind of emptiness and feelings like she had as a kid. She can't control what that man does, but I really do think she did her best. Even though I find Sean and Sarah annoying and don't like the fact they're on this show, I get it. All right, so here we go. This was one of my faves, Justine and Michael. Justine and Michael managed to keep on giving. I have to give, because I honestly didn't see this shit lasting. Okay, just her needing to go down to the jail to be in her wedding dress. Anyway, Michael has to explain why they can't move, because they aren't going to expedite his transfer to Nevada from Pennsylvania. The irresponsibility, the dumminess. We know he ain't got no 9 to 5. And Justine, I'm not going to blame you too much because you pregnant. Well, she's had the baby, right, by now? But it doesn't matter. This is why I say don't quit your job like that. First of all, you were quitting your job with a man that had questionable resources when he got out of jail. Not because he didn't have money put away somewhere, but the way he got it was questionable. And I remember her boss on the other end of the phone, I could tell in her voice, she was like, Justine, are you sure you really want to do this? Because anybody who has had lived experience, I don't care how old or young you are, there are certain things that you see over time. Like, I could tell you that was a mistake. And the sound in her boss's voice, because nursing is a good job. Okay, nursing is a good job. And it's stable, it's steady, you have health care. Even, I don't care if, you're not making $300,000 a year. You can make a good and consistent living as a nurse. And that certainly helps with health care, especially if you have children. And she does. And she quit that job, and I could just tell. I still remember the sound of her boss's voice, like, I've seen this before. Do you really want to do this for a man? Especially a man, period, because I would have had those same suspicions. But a man who just got out of prison. She didn't say that, but I could tell it was in her voice. Anyway, he says he never got the paperwork that the parole officer was expecting. They had mailed it. Justine was like, I was expecting you to hold up your part of things. Yes, your parole is your responsibility, bruh. So they are moving to Las Vegas for his rap career. Okay. That in and of itself, I can tell you, is not going to flower the way they think it is. Okay? Honestly, you a little too supportive for me. They're already too far from them kids in Rhode Island. Anyway, and this motherfucker wasn't even checking the mail. The fuck? What have you been doing? You got a whole pregnant wife. What, 3 kids? Or 4 kids? I can't remember. But, like, to me, like, what were you doing? Writing lyrics and checking the mail do not have to steal from each other's time. It actually doesn't. So the kids have all their shit packed up because they're moving several states away. They pack up. We don't know if they've taken them out of school. Well, at least that's what I'm thinking. All the paperwork that you have to transfer to this neighborhood. All the things. She's going to have to redo all of that paperwork. Then he says he didn't tell her because he didn't want her to stress out and stress the baby out. Well, what the hell do you think she is now that they don't have no place to live and they between a rock and a hard place, and they have a new, which we find out, a new $4,000 mortgage for the house in Las Vegas? Are you kidding me? It wasn't stressful to move and have 3 kids and another one on the way? Having a husband is clear. It's like having a fucking child, at least on this show. Because a lot of men are like this whether they've been in jail or not. Let's be real. And to me, I just found this all so disruptive. I was getting stressed out listening to it. So they have a $4,000 new mortgage, like I mentioned. And he wants her to get the landlord to extend the lease. He's like, well, 30, 60, 90 days. He was like, well, just see if we can get it to 6 months. Okay, 90 days isn't 6 months. Which one is it? Because you've already been lying too much. I need this to stop. Okay? She let her doctor go. Because she was expecting to deal with another doctor who would carry out a C-section. And a C-section is a form of intense surgery to make sure the baby is delivered carefully when it can't do the traditional way. So she's already had the doctor that she trusted and canceled that. And now what is she supposed to do? You do know that doctor's visits increase as you get closer to the pregnancy. They don't decrease, you dumb fuck. You're on your 4th kid, you don't know that? Anyway, so he has to talk to all the kids, and I don't blame Justine. That is not your job to explain this fuck shit to them. So Kylie, her daughter, her oldest daughter, got the braces off, and she came upstairs to check on her mother. She was like, I heard y'all arguing, and he's sleeping on the couch. So I was wondering, basically what was going on. And she was like, Michael's going to tell y'all he can explain it a lot better than I can. He can, because he the one with this information. You didn't have it. And I'm glad you didn't try to do all that extra shit. So Michael has to talk to the kids, right? So he says, well, there's been a hiccup in the plans. No, motherfucker. There's been a halt to the plans. All right. And they are not going to be able to move to Vegas. Did you see them kids' face? He said at least for 90 days. And he's like, it's supposed to be 30 to 90 days. But I just lean on that side. I think that's best. Because that would be my advice to you. But nevertheless, Kylie is over it. Kylie's going to college in Vegas. Was she going to live with them, or was she living in the dorm? Because now we have to restructure all of that, which means that's extra money out of Justine's pocket to make sure her daughter's set up to go and get her education. Like, what the hell? So they have questions. The kids. He explains that, like, while I'm physically out of prison, I have to do things according to a parole office. And his son asked, well, how long would that be? He was like, you'll be 30. I said, damn. And I'm sure I had heard this before, but like the idea of a kid going from 10 years old to 30 years old before his father has agency over his life, I honestly think that's a violation of the 8th Amendment. I do think that's a form of cruel and unusual punishment. 5 to 10 years for parole is enough. Is enough checking in and all that shit. Like I just feel like the way this system works is fucked up. All right, but nevertheless, Kylie interrupts and asks her mom. She said, Mom, how are you feeling about all this? And he tries to interject, and she goes, no, I'm not asking you. I'm asking her. And she goes, Kylie, like she's trying to get her to still stay respectful. At the end of the day, no, your daughter is technically grown now. She has not grown up with this man. He just got out of jail. And Michael does seem like a pretty nice guy, but that's not the point. It's not her father. And her concern about her very pregnant mother with all of these kids, with her going off to college, and Kylie's also kind of played the role, obviously, of a second mother, as many older sisters do, is worried. And she was like, because she's having a baby. He was like, yeah, and he slipped up and told her, by the way he was naming the dates, she was like, wait, you knew this was the case when she canceled her C-section? I said, I be damned. You ain't that worried about the baby or her stress levels? And that girl had every reason to be mad. Them little kids went up there and hugged him, and she walked right up the steps. And I don't blame her. Michael says well, the other option is basically that y'all could go out there without me. And Justine was like, no, I'm not having a baby without you. They should have waited, honestly, until that baby was born anyway, just for health and consistency's sake. They're moving for a rap career that could take off, but we know most likely will not. The music industry does not pay like that, and certainly not for things like, honestly, he'd be better off doing that on YouTube or social media and becoming viral and getting paid, as opposed to dealing with the overhead and the management, because at his age and the investment that it would take, and we all know that they prefer younger people, like there's just a lot of things that I think would be like, like it's just some shit. Then we get Melissa and Louie. Now I try on this show, I really do try, okay? But Melissa, I'm sorry. I just cannot give Melissa benefit of the doubt. I just can't. I honestly don't even understand why they're still together. I've been kind of partial toward Louis, not because he did anything, but because Melissa is such a pain in the fucking ass. Okay, I don't like his mother, but now that she out the picture, it's clear Melissa is, because I felt for Melissa when she was dealing with all that shit. But at the end of the day, Louis ain't wrong half the time. Okay, now he does some dumb shit, all right, because he done lost 15 years of his life or whatever. So she said, you're going to be mad at me because I went for a consultation for a nose job. I said, say what now? And I was like, he going to be mad that you didn't tell him that? You paying for it, ain't you? But okay. And two, it doesn't shock me that Melissa wants a nose job, because she does strike me as somebody with very, very low self-esteem and very, very deep insecurities, i.e. the way she got mad at that salsa dance teacher. Anyway, and granted, she is paying for these things, but nevertheless, cosmetic surgery to somebody's face. Yeah, you should discuss that with your partner. And I was like, what kind of nose is Melissa planning to get? What the fuck does she think she's going to look like? Plastic surgery, except for in the cases of, breast cancer, where you need to replace your breast after chemotherapy, or you've had a really bad car accident. Like, I believe in cosmetic surgery around those things. I just find that overwhelmingly, people who go get it for vanity purposes often look worse than they did before. Just get your self-esteem up. It'll save you a whole lot of money, Melissa. So now Louis was asking honestly good logistical questions. How are you going to get to New York? What do we need to pay for a hotel the night before? If it's early surgery, how are we going to drive up there? So on and so forth. Then she brings up they have to take a pregnancy test. Well, she has to take a pregnancy test before the nose job. And he was like, why are you nervous? And why are you making me nervous about it? And she was like, well, you've been up here and we've been having sex a lot, this, that, and the other. And she was like, would you not want a baby? First of all, I don't even think Melissa wants a baby. I think Melissa wants Louis to respond and behave in ways that make her feel more secure. But Louis kept it real. He was like, no, I don't want another kid right now. And she was like, wow, so you just want to hang out, have fun, like a frat boy with no responsibilities. Bitch, y'all are still trying to get yourselves together. Having a child, and let's just, having a child, okay? And I'm sitting up here like, does he have a job? Why would you want a baby with a man who you actively know does not have a job? He's living off of you right now. I've drawn a conclusion, and this is before I saw the rest of the episode, but I drew the conclusion right then that Melissa cannot be happy in most relationships. Okay? She has a personality to me that can't be satisfied because she has such unrealistic expectations for the person she is dating that have been in prison for 10, 12, 15 years, whatever it was. And I do think that even before Louis, she was impossible to please. That's what I mean by her relationships. This is really, and I typically don't go in on women like that unless they need it, and Melissa needs it. So they're going to New York for this nose job surgery. What a joke. Like, Melissa, what are you going to look like? Okay, you already not that cute, but a nose job, like, what is it going to, what are you trying to make your nose look like? I'm curious. So she now realizes she doesn't want to do a pregnancy test at the doctor's, that she would rather take one before she goes up there, this and the other. She decides this on the fucking New Jersey Turnpike. Well, bitch, it's too late to turn around now. Anyway, don't you think you should have done that before? Like, did it really just occur to you on the New Jersey Turnpike as you paid them tolls and crossed that GW bridge? Like, you dummy. So he says, well, we're going to go get something good to eat. And he was like, it's going to be pizza. And she goes, pizza? For my last meal? He was like, first of all, it's not your last meal. It's your last meal before surgery, because she can't eat like after 9 o'clock. He takes her to a pizza place to meet a man named Justin. Justin, kind of a silver fox. Was it just me? It may have been just me, but I'm all right with him. Anyway, yeah, he takes her to a pizza place. Justin, the first man who taught him how to make pizza or whatever. And my question is, why is Melissa so mean? And this is what I mean by unrealistic expectations. She was like, so Louis brings up the fact that he found a job at a pizza place. So what, Melissa? What if Louis wants to make pizzas for a job? He said they don't do background checks. It's obviously something he enjoyed. He was enjoying that when he was back in Georgia. And he left that job and moved. And you were mad. That's what he enjoys. And he can bring in some kind of money. You're talking about, well, he should have told me this before I bought a new apartment. I can't afford all this by myself. Bitch, you knew that. You're not even married to him. You should have always set it up a lifestyle where you could afford it if he walks out or not. And certainly because he's an ex-con, and that takes more time. Let's just keep it real. It takes more time. What kind of job did you expect that he would be able to get? I don't even know if Louis even finished high school or barely finished. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's so fucked up to then be so mean about what he's doing for a living. And I think it's cruel. Like, I just think she just goes in on him. And honestly, he may not be making the kind of money you need to make things work, but you chose this. You found him on that prison website. Okay, you moved to a new apartment knowing he didn't have a certain job when he came to New Jersey. And you got kids, but I'm glad we don't ever see them on camera. Now, what the fuck? I'm with Louis. A piece of job is better than no job, and who knows? He can move up. You never know who might give him an opportunity to be manager, so on and so forth. Let him do that in peace. So we get Chevelle and Quaylon. I honestly, when she bought him that car, when he first got out of jail, and then he got caught cheating, I really didn't think they would make it this far. But nevertheless, they're happy. So I've never heard of a bridal stylist, but I imagine that would be really helpful, because when they go to the shop, they're looking for a stylist or whatever. I mean, the stylist is helping them. I don't know. I just always thought that was somebody who just worked at the bridal shop. I didn't know they were called a stylist, but that would make sense. Anyway, or maybe I didn't know that's, yeah, just what they're called. Their mothers are there. Quayla's mother is there, and so is Chevelle's mother. Despite the fact that we know it has the potential to go completely left, and despite the fact that we know Chevelle's daughter is there, and we know that Quayla's mother just be doing the most. So Chevelle is describing the dress she wants. She says she wants it sexy, but wants it sexy see-through, but not see-through. And Maila was looking at her like, this don't even make no sense to me. I swear, Lindsay's kid, Maila's kid, Justine's kid, they all got more sense than they do. Anyway, then the moms get to talking while Chevelle is trying on dresses. Quaylen's mom starts asking Chevelle's mom if she's still not contributing to the wedding. First of all, where did you expect that conversation to go? You wanted it to go left. The mom said no. She said, I'm not. She was like, I've been contributing for 34 years. I said, well, you got a point with that. And she may contribute to the food. She said, because I like to eat. So Quaylen's mom is like, oh, just because you like to eat? And I was like, bitch, what? So anyway, well, if you don't contribute, what do you think? She asked her, if you don't contribute, what do you think that's going to do to y'all's relationship? She goes, she'll be fine. And what the fuck is that to you? What is that to you? So, like, bitch, why are you worried about it was my question. Then her mother asked the same damn question I was thinking about. Well, what are you contributing? She has the nerve to say, well, traditionally, the groom's family doesn't pay for anything. Traditionally? First of all, those rules aren't tradition anymore. They're really not. You know how many people have to save money and pay for it themselves nowadays? And it's been that way for quite some time. Like 80s, 90s, 2000s. Like, let's quit playing. Okay? Or both sets of families contribute something. And the way capitalism is set up, most people cannot afford to follow these rules anyway. This is something that elite people can do if they want to, and even then, they so busy trying to compete with each other, they ain't gonna let one person just dominate the whole wedding so they can throw it in their face. Anyway, both of them do agree that they think they should wait, that they've been moving too fast. Chevelle, you know what I realized? Chevelle is shaped like Sherry Shepherd. Like, because to me, Sherry Shepherd really isn't big. Like, she's not. She has a weird shape, but like you can see that her body is thinner, but her face makes you think she's supposed to be heavier. Both of them, both of them. Um, and that's who she reminds me of. So she finds a dress. I honestly think people should wear what they want for their wedding to an extent. This is on TV, and therefore my opinion. I think that tattoo showing is just a little distracting and tacky. It did look better with the veil. I'll give it to the mother. But I guess when you get a tattoo, you want people to see it. But it was kind of like Okay. Anyway, so she's having her bridal shower, and it actually looked very nice. Whoever did it did a really good job. Her daughter is so beautiful. I think she looks like her mother, but she's really pretty. I mean, I don't mean to say it like. Move on. Why is Quaylen's sister's name Q Baby? I didn't notice that before. Girl, bye. So then his mama starts at this girl's bridal shower and says, I'm still worried about y'all and the decision y'all are making. The one who ain't contributing. The one Chevelle is practically providing for. Just leave it alone. And you can tell when somebody's ratchet because they insist on making a thing out of everything. It's giving Miss Wanda. All right. It is what it is. Her daughter honestly has seen enough. Cut it. Acting like that around that baby is enough. Okay? Then she finally says she has her blessing. She was like, that means a lot to me. Okay, whatever. So her family is feeling away. Okay? That she was over there talking to Quaylen's family and not over there for a second. So Chevelle's mother basically says she still doesn't think Quaylen is over cheating and he hasn't gotten it out of his system. Honestly, they're still young. I don't think so either. But I do think her mother made a good point, especially somebody who was locked up for 12 years. And I was like, ooh, them margaritas are hitting. They hitting. Now, Quaylen's mother walks over in the middle of Chevelle and her mother's conversation with their family. Mind you, Chevelle's mother did not do that. And she says to Chevelle, don't let her upset you. If you want to piss somebody off in a family, be from not part of the family and then call yourself protecting the person in the family by telling them not to talk to them. Let me tell you something, because that shit would piss me off too. Okay? And she is clearly, okay, Quaylen's mother was causing dissension between her and her mother. And I can tell you right now, Chevelle, that shit ain't going to get no better. That's who she is. That's her character. Now, your mother could act better too, but it's not the same damn thing because his mother seemed to start that shit. So if I was her mother, I would have been pissed. Don't come and pull my daughter to the side. Don't do that. That ain't got shit to do with you. She wasn't in no danger. It don't matter. It ain't none of your business. And this is her bridal shower. Why do you keep fucking with her? You the one who said you were still worried about them at the table. So it ain't like you care so much about the whole setup. Girl, bye. Lindsay and Blaine. Lindsay is poor white trash if I've ever seen it. There's no fixing that. And Blaine is too. So Blaine, as far as I'm concerned, and one of my main concerns for him is that he needs a speech therapist. Because it's hard for me to really understand shit that's coming out of his mouth. So Lindsay is a crazy whore, okay? And we've seen her from the time she tried to, she destroyed that man's house and had to go back to jail. And then had her girlfriend in the attic in his... Now I say it out loud, this shit is so crazy. So Blaine went to the doctor and wanted some medication to help with his depression or whatever. He said the doctor looked at his records of, depression, PTSD, and said he was eligible for a medical marijuana card. Lindsay says that's a bad idea. I agree. And I'm wondering what kind of doctor you saw. And this doctor should have asked far more questions. Because the kind of things that we're talking about, he needs to see a psychiatrist and have prescription drugs for those things, and then follow that up and see a psychologist so he can get the help he needs so that he doesn't have to drug it out in that way. Okay? Especially somebody with addiction issues. So I don't know who the fuck this doctor is, but you need a second opinion. I think that's the opinion he wanted, so he went with it. The lawyer calls at one point when Lindsay's in the car, and she tells him about Blaine's medical marijuana, and he tells her, look, the feds aren't going to recognize that. It's a bad idea. And Lindsay was right, and I did agree with her about that. Lindsay, bringing your daughter home was a mistake. I realize that Molly Grace is your birth daughter, But since your grandmother had been raising her, honestly, and the way you live your life, the way you have men in and out your life, and have had them in and out your life on TV, and no, I don't think she's calmed down that much. Bringing your daughter home was a mistake. Please send her back to her grandmother, because that girl is so much smarter than you. Just like she was like, if he wanted to get married, he would have proposed. Like, and focused. Like, she seems like she's smart, like she'll do well. She doesn't need you in her life. And honestly, I thought the girl was older than that. I didn't realize she was only 13. And you need to visit her at the grandmother's house instead of disrupting her life, because the way you live is chaotic. It's chaotic. And she doesn't deserve that. And she seems very smart and put together because of the way the grandmother was raising her. Okay? And all the fucked up shit you get involved in, it ain't for you. You can't be a mother the way you wish you were a mother, trying to create a family. Blaine's kids are still young. Blaine wasn't even crazy about your daughter coming. And that to me already says y'all ain't on the same page. Lindsay is talking about how she does everything and he doesn't do anything, like only a dish once in a while and a fork. I was like, okay, what? She said he only paid one housing payment and it was half a payment. And she said, everything the light touches belongs to me. I said, okay, Lion King. Anyway, so then Blaine throws and knocks a dish off the stove because that wasn't calculated. Because he seemed like kind of okay. And then all of a sudden, she was like, get the fuck out of my house. With those kids, all those kids in the house hearing that and shit. And she says, no, all y'all, close your doors right now. Close your doors right now. They ain't gonna stop the pet show fight. And they ain't gonna do nothing but lend their ear to the door. Molly Grace's life was better before. Send that girl back to her grandmother. Honestly, because you're not capable of doing for her what she needs. And now that resentment that you were afraid that she was going to have is actually going to grow. Because now she has those examples. She's seen how you live your life. Before, she could just kind of suspect, right? And kind of go off what you said. Girl, bye. All right, Taylor and Chance. This is another relationship that I just really needed for them to have ended. I stopped watching for a whole season, and we are right back to where we left off. So Chance has sent her somewhere to her phone 666 messages. I said 666. That should tell you everything. Anyway, in a day, huh? So Chance, he is so controlling. Chance tells us that he was texting with a person. This is what caused some tension. He had been cheating before too. With a person he thought was female, and it was actually a guy. What difference does it make? What difference does it make? You were doing something inappropriate, and then he claims, as he's sweeping the garage, was it just me or was he too tall? Maybe it wasn't a garage, maybe it was an attic, because the way it was set up, I was like, he's about to hit his head. And at one point, he does his confessional, he's sitting down with the broom. And I really think it's because he ain't have enough room to stand. Nevertheless, Chance is lying about the story. I don't doubt that Taylor had created fake accounts before to set him up and find out how he was cheating on her and what he was willing to do when he cheated on her, but she did it because you were cheating. So miss me, bruh. So they packed his shit in like 2 garbage bags. When they said he had stuff, I was thinking to myself, they were gonna be cleaning out all night. I didn't know it was gonna be in 2 garbage bags. And they put it out on the lawn. All I could think was, ooh, I hope the garbage men don't get confused, because it just looks like garbage. But then again, maybe it's best that the garbage men do. But they ain't put it in a little canister, so you know how garbage men be funky. Anyway, no pun intended. Anyway, so Taylor said when he got out, he was so nice and loving. And her sister was like, that's because he had just got out. Yes, he was love bombing you, only to abuse you. So she admits he came in and disrupted her life. Hell, we saw that. He fucked up her house. That house was already nice. It was a basic home, someplace secure and nice. Her kids seemed happy, even though I think women, and honestly I don't know what it is to have children and then be worried about the family structure, but you know, thinking you have to have a man to have a complete family, and society does too much to push that and shame women when you don't. And I think that's what has them making these poor decisions, whether it's Chevelle or Taylor. Okay. She admits he came in and disrupted her life, fucked up her house. He's basically done this quote-unquote work that didn't need to be done. We saw that coming. And it's sad, especially for the kids. I hate that she decided to have a baby with him. Not that I hate that she has the baby, but I know she's going to be attached to this controlling individual. Somebody who didn't even think the baby was his. Okay? I'm glad her sister and friends stayed until he left, because we all know those kind of situations, those domestic violence situations can escalate. And he came in there on 10. So am I the only one that saw that Chance was trying to go hard and trying to take on a rapper's personality when he was in the car? Yeah, I'm the wrong one. I was like, huh? Boy, bye. Only giving the judge further evidence to inevitably give Taylor full custody of their child. Thanks, Chance. So Chance comes into the house and practically busts through the door like he's gonna fight her sister and her friend. Yeah, you a real man. And let me tell you how bitch man he is. Taylor managed to hold him back. Chance, you a bitch. You a bitch. And I can tell you you put paws on women, which is why they say it anyway. But the fact that Taylor could kind of push you back and you were like, boy, bye. Can't nobody push you back like that if you really want to fight, you pussy. Next, he says she can keep his stuff that's in those garbage bags and kicks them across the yard. So what the fuck you come over there for? And then he says, first of all, before he even got in that house, before he was even mad about it, he took her laptop and threw it on the ground and said, well, there's her laptop since my stuff is in the bag. The stuff you mad about that you gonna leave on the lawn? Boy, bye. All right. Then he says, but I do want something else. And he starts walking over into another part of the yard. I don't even know what he said he wanted. And then he was like, fuck it. I was like, yeah, because it probably really don't belong to you and you don't want to file no police reports. So then he starts doing what abusers do. Trying to say this isn't, am I the only one? And I know states are different and stuff like that. But the way Chance acts says to me, he's the one that should be on parole for 20 years. Michael hasn't given us a glimpse of that kind of personality. Fuck out of here. Anyway, so then he starts doing what abusers do, trying to say, this isn't me, and then blaming the woman for having done something triggered. You cheated on me, you did this, you did that. And him saying in the confessional, when I took her laptop, all I wanted to do was apologize. As if they haven't played that scene for him over again. And that we didn't see him throw it on the ground. That's your way of apologizing? Motherfucker, if you don't get up out of here with that. But you walked on your way into the house. Dropped it on the ground, you piece of shit. He honestly seemed geeked up. All right. But he's also like that regardless. She asked for space and he said, so I don't get to see my kids. And she says, no, you can still see Mason. He was like, really? Only one? Yes, the others aren't your kids. And the way he was building those bedrooms in a weird way always had me looking at Chance sideways. No, you don't get to be around my daughters. And he shouldn't have been around them in the first place, Taylor. Taylor, I'm going to tell you how you knew something was wrong because you didn't marry him. You knew that he was not on the up and up. And you were smart enough to do that. But you kept that motherfucker in your house. So she is still trying to reason about how she doesn't want to be a mom that keeps the father from the kids. You can only do your best. Children remember things how they remember. But honestly, kids see more and understand more as time goes on into adulthood. And all parents make mistakes. But once again, it's that societal pressure. The same reason why I feel like Chevelle feels like she needs to marry Quaylen so her daughter Maila can have a family unit the way it's supposed to be. And it's not supposed to be that way. Not if it makes you unhappy and it's unhealthy. Taylor's doing the same thing. Lindsay is semi doing the same thing, but we all know Lindsay's motives are fucked up, so I can't even give her that. And it's just, these people, these people are a hot ass mess. Anyway, I hope y'all have a great weekend. I will talk to y'all soon. And yeah, enjoy.